Hello, my little creatures.
Okay, so you've heard of fight or flight, or however you want to say it, right? That primal automatic survival instinct that kicks in when we're in danger. But what if there's a third option? Basically, the option that no one talks about. Not fight, not flight, but self destruct.
You mean like just full on kaboom? Like a full on biological fail safe, which like it's basically a kill switch inside the human body that activates like under extreme conditions.
Exactly, like what if the body, your body, my body, everybody is walking around
Everybody.
walking around with a built-in catastrophic shutdown protocol that triggers not to save the person but to protect the species, the environment, or the secret of human consciousness itself.
Okay, so what you're saying, you're suggesting basically, is that like humans are like alien technology, press the wrong button and then like spontaneous evaporation. And but like for what purpose? Like why would evolution or even worse something else? Right? Why would why would a self-destruct feature be put in humans? Why would it be there?
But think bigger, like what if it isn't a bug? What if it's like a biological firewall? Like a last resort, an end of line command kind of thing, right? A do not let this data fall into the wrong hands kind of thing.
As in like you go through something really embarrassing and then someone finds out about it and then you're just kabooming.
hmm So, what if throughout history,
Yeah.
certain people have triggered it, and what we call spontaneous human combustion, mysterious heart failure, or even enlightenment deaths are just glitches in this containment system?
But that would kind of explain a lot because mystics just dropping dead mid meditation, cult leaders bursting into flames, government agents who die suddenly just, just after learning too much. And what you're saying is basically like they trip the circuit.
Or maybe the body sensed something, right? An exposure, a truth, a danger. So profound it couldn't let the system or the soul continue unchecked. So, boom, lock it down, burn the evidence, wipe the mind, crash the host.
So this is basically the darkest update to human biology I have ever heard. Like if evolution watched like too much Mission Impossible and went, you know what? Let's make sure no one makes it to the final boss level.
And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're not just asking what if the body could self destruct. We're delving into ancient death rituals designed to trigger internal shutdown, real cases of people dying in ways that defy biology,
Ooh.
meditation states that cause the body to literally dematerialize,
And also why you shouldn't meditate.
military black ops, and the science of biological kill codes, and the idea that some knowledge is so dangerous your body won't let you survive it.
So yeah, I mean today's episode is unreal in every single way. Not just chaos, but high concept chaos with internal firewalls and memory loops.
There's not just about death, it's about activation. What happens when the human machine decides you're not safe to continue?
This is Unreal Unsolved, episode 16. What if humans could self destruct like a defense mechanism? And could the body have a hidden kill switch?
So let's start with something ancient because obviously that's the right way to start, right? You go all the way back and then you come close. What if monks learned how to activate it on purpose? By it, I mean the whole self destruction.
How dare they?
So let's open with the oldest, strangest, most peaceful, and actually terrifying version of this theory, right? What if ancient monks, like real living robe wearing, chanting on a cliff monks, discovered how to intentionally trigger the body's self destruct mechanism? And not an accident, not a curse, but as the final stage of spiritual mastery.
So you're saying there's like a level up, so advanced that your body just went, okay, we're done here, and basically deleted itself?
hmm So let's talk about something. It's called, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but Sokushinbutsu, which is the Japanese Buddhist practice of self mummification.
Ooh.
That was a real thing, right? Mostly among Shingon monks in the 11th to 19th centuries. They didn't just die peacefully, they spent years prepping their bodies to decay perfectly. They starved themselves, consumed tree bark and poison laced seeds, and eventually were buried alive in a sealed tomb while still meditating.
Are they crazy? Why?
Yeah, well,
Well, okay, fine. Whatever. Eat your tree bark, because I know people still do that. But, um, getting buried alive? See, like, just sand poured on your face, like mud poured on your face? That, no. So, that is a BIOS, like, level ritual shutdown, if I've ever heard one. That's literally someone, like, uninstalling their flesh.
and they did for enlightenment to become living Buddhas. But what if it wasn't just symbolic, right? What if they knew there was a biological lock in the body and they were detaching their consciousness before it tripped? Or worse, triggering it intentionally to avoid some metaphysical contamination?
So, like, download complete, burn the hardware.
Exactly. And here's where it gets creepier because there are dozens of recorded cases where monks entered the process and didn't decay. So their bodies remained in meditation posture for centuries, preserved, not imbibed, just preserved. Minimal bacteria, no insects, like their bodies were preserved by something from the inside out.
Um, aren't they still alive then?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Because they were buried alive, no?
Mm-hmm.
So, if they were preserved, they're alive,
Yep, maybe.
but they didn't decay, no bacteria, like, what? Okay, and so, like, I'm trying to figure out, modern science tries to explain this as well, and how they try to explain it away is with diet and the environment, but it still doesn't answer the core question. And why do they rot, right? That's your main question.
You mean didn't they?
Why didn't they rot?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they were still alive, maybe they weren't, but why didn't they rot, right? Why did the body upon death act like it was suspended, or like paused in some impossible state of internal preservation?
And think about the symbolism. Death not as failure, but as elevation. A final act of intentional shutdown, no violence, no trauma, just exit protocol initiated. Which sounds a lot like like, what you'd build into a biological AI system, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100% agree, but also, like, if humans were designed or modified by, like, some kind of intelligence, like, you'd absolutely install a self-limiting function where first, like, s- if someone just reaches too much awareness. And this kind of reminds me that a couple of days ago it was released that scientists had found a state between life and death, right? And I'm forgetting what it's called, but, like, this is I guess your little kill
Exists.
switch
Hmm.
is your time between life and death.
And let's also not forget the Hindu yogis, the Tibetan mysts, and the Taoist immortals. There are legends in all of these traditions where masters just vanish in burst of light or leave behind your just hair and nails.
And or I can't believe I'm saying this,
And or
but literally just ashes. Which brings us uncomfortably close to the spontaneous human combustion. What if spontaneous human combustion isn't a tragic accident but a spiritual misfire? Right? Like a case where someone touched the off switch but wasn't ready and the body just, like, hard crashed into the fire.
a failed enlightenment protocol, a botched activation, the body trying to initiate transcendence but hitting the wrong sequence.
And That would make spontaneous human combustion not paranormal and not random, but a part of the same system monks were accessing all along.
Exactly, like they're trying to exit cleanly, and some people through trauma, madness, meditation, or just sheer accident just strip the fail safe.
So, monks weren't just meditating, they were hacking the flesh, finding the code, getting to the kill switch, and then pressing it with just full of awareness.
Which means the body may have always had this mechanism, like a final safeguard, and some people learned how to use it on purpose.
Coming up next, what if the skill switch isn't spiritual but genetic? And what if someone else put it there? So, let's shift gears, right? From monks to modification. Let's say humans didn't evolve naturally, or at least not entirely. What if we were engineered? And what if the engineers included a kill switch?
So just like smartphones had planned obsolescence, or like the printer cartridges stop working at 70% ink. Like what if like your body, had a burnout timer hard coded into your DNA?
And I get it. This sounds really extreme, but hear me out. Why do cells age? Like, why do we have telometer, telometers? Yeah,
Telomeres.
telomeres.
Telomeres. Actually, I don't know.
That thing that shrink with every division. And why do we go from regenerating constantly in childhood to dying slowly for decades after a certain point?
Because honestly, evolution shouldn't want that, right? If survival of the fittest is the game, then why design an organism that tanks after 40 years? Like, why not evolve constant regeneration?
Unless a long lifespan wasn't just part of the plan, unless we were built for a specific purpose, for a specific duration, and anything beyond that is overclocking the system.
So, enter the obsolescence protocol. What if aging isn't just stage one? And spontaneous death events, mysterious heart attacks, unexplained burns, mental breakdowns are emergency failsafes.
Because what happens when someone starts accessing parts of consciousness they weren't meant to? What happens when the body senses rejection of programming? And hopefully you guessed it, but I wouldn't have. But basically, what happens is shutdown.
So, that would actually explain why certain people die under weirdly specific conditions, right? Right before releasing dangerous information, right after extreme trauma or awakening, in isolation, during meditative states, or near high electromagnetic fields. These aren't coincidences, they're trigger events.
It feels like like your burnt toast theory, doesn't it? And we have a precedent for this basically. So think about genetic kill code in science. Biologists literally designed a gene which drives to self-limit population, and viruses are engineered with activation proteins. So if we can do it in a lab, why not to us?
And what if someone, eons ago, created humans as an intelligent but limited species, smart enough to explore, but not enough to discover the original code? And every time someone starts getting too close to metaphysical truth, to energy fields, to hidden biology, system error, shutdown initiated.
Now, here's where it gets even weirder, right? Because there are patterns, certain bloodlines, certain like DNA haplogroup groups, and some groups live longer, regenerate better, resist disease, while others seem to be more volatile.
So you're saying like some people have cleaner code, or maybe older versions of the code?
Yeah,
Like early humans, pre-patch, didn't have the kill switch yet, but we
exactly.
do?
Yeah. It's people with unexplainable resistance to aging, like rapid healing, altered states of consciousness. Maybe there are hardware. Maybe like those people are hardware glitches in the system.
Or survivors of an older template, like before this whole obsolescence feature was uploaded.
So we were built, then limited, then scattered, And now, every so often, someone accidentally unlocks the override, and the body then says this information cannot leave containment, and then executes the program.
So we're walking around inside genetically limited or genetically timed bombs, and the fuse is tied to the consciousness thresholds. Reach too far, and the clock hits zero.
Coming up next, what if, governments know about this? And have they figured out how to weaponize it?
Alright, so let's get technical or terrifying. Because if humans have an internal self destruct mechanism, where are the odds?
Where are the
What
odds?
are the odds that someone discovered it already and found a way to use it?
I mean, if you're asking where are the odds, I'd have to search for them. But you mean to weaponize it? Like instead of planting bugs or poison, you just activate a kill code and someone dies from the inside out.
Yeah, like no trace, no toxin, no external wounds, just sudden catastrophic biofailure that looks like natural causes or worse, like a spontaneous combustion, massive internal hemorrhage, or unexplained death.
And this brings us to the beautiful nightmare known as MK Ultra.
And what a beauty it is.
We've all heard about CIA's experiments with LSD, hypnosis, memory manipulation, psychic warfare. But what if some branches went deeper? And by this, I mean not just mind control, but body control.
They are declassified documents from the 1950s and 60s where the US government explored remote behavioral disruption, psychotronic weapons, subaudible frequencies, EMF pulse testing, and what they call biological field disruption, meaning you don't attack the person, you disrupt their internal bioelectric patterns.
Because guess what? The human body runs on electromagnetic signals, brain waves, heart rhythms, neural pulses. We're literally walking antennas. And if you know the right frequency, you can jam the signal.
Or shut it down entirely. Like that's what some be- some believe happened in shadow ops. Scientists experimenting with sound weapons, scalar fields, or targeted microwave bursts to trigger instant neurological collapse.
And there's even a term that pops up in off record discussions. It's called drop codes. Supposedly, these are sets of stimuli, images, sounds, keywords, or emotional states that, when combined in specific sequence, can shut down the brain's higher function and initiate a cascade failure.
Which quite makes sense if that kill switch isn't a single button, but a password, right? A complex multi-sensory trigger that tells the body time to shut down, the host has breached its boundaries.
And think about how many high profile deaths have been labeled heart failure or natural causes with no prior illnesses. I mean, what if they weren't natural and what if they were triggered instead?
And remember the people who knew too much? Journalists, whistleblowers, scientists who mysteriously disappeared or suddenly died. Could it be that they activated something? Or someone activated it in them? You mean like, I don't know, the two whistleblowers of Boeing?
Boeing. I was just thinking that. I was literally just gonna say it. But we let's talk about all of this. Are we next? I mean, aren't we literally exposing whoever is using this?
Yeah, well, I don't think they're listening.
Let's hope not. Or they just have a satellite where like the word drop codes every time it's said.
You'd had to say that once
Drop
more.
codes, drop codes, drop codes.
If you don't get another episode, you know why.
I feel like we say this every single episode.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always because of me. And I mean, to kill us, you don't need a gun. You just need a tone, right? Like a flicker of light, a subconscious command delivered through screens, airways, or even a voice. But we're not important enough to be killed,
Exactly.
right?
So this takes into account bio interruption warfare, right? Why assassinate someone when you can convince their body to destroy itself? That's like the perfect weapon. No fingerprints, no bullets, no enemy, just error host cannot continue.
And here's the most like disturbing possibility. What if like we all have it? What if your body has preloaded shutdown scripts just waiting to be triggered at the right frequency?
And you know how some people suddenly collapse, no known health issue, or suffer non anatomical seizures, or just drop dead in public, no explanation?
I realize how they put these codes into us. After you're born, they take you into the nurses take you into that separate room to keep you there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's where they do it.
Mm,
All of the hospitals have got their codes, and they put it into us when they take us away from our parents.
amazing.
Yeah, and you know, what if all of these no known health issues, blah blah blah, and all of those? What if they're like just test runs, right? Field experiments, just activations gone wrong or right, depending on who's pushing the button.
And here's the final spiral. What if mass media is part of it? Subliminal clues, cues, unnoticed sequences, entire population primed without knowing until the signal comes through.
And in the next segment, we're gonna focus on what if the kill switch isn't about death at all, but rather about containment. What if your body's self-destruction is designed to protect something else inside you from never getting out?
So far, we've treated the kill switch like a shutdown command, like the body is trying to destroy itself before something else can. But what if that's not the point? What if the kill switch isn't about ending the human? What if it's about containing what's already inside?
So, you're saying that the kill switch is protective and like we're walking walls and the body's job isn't just a function but keep the door closed?
Yeah, what if every human being has something embedded deep within them? A frequency, a code, a spark that should never be accessed unless the system can handle it. Like a cosmic failsafe. And if you try to open it too soon, boom.
And that kind of explains so much, doesn't it? Right? Think about all of those stories, like people who survive near death experiences and come back different, who are like suddenly psychic and unstable, or they die in a totally bizarre, reality bending way, like time stopped working around them, or their body reacted like wasn't even in the same dimension anymore.
And maybe because it wasn't. What if they touched the thing inside, the inner lock, and the body, this fragile biological shell, it kind of panicked, but it couldn't let that thing fully wake up?
So, what's in there, right? What are we hiding? A higher version of ourselves, like alien code, ancient knowledge from pre-human eras, or my personal favorite, a multi-dimensional version of consciousness that's too unstable to operate in on this plane.
That's kind of what the theory is. Like, that human consciousness isn't just conscious, it's compressed awareness from multiple layers of existence. So we're walls, but the lock is biological. And the kill switch is firewall that protects what's inside from getting out when we're not ready.
Okay, so basically, you get too deep into meditation, or you have a mental breakdown, or you awaken too fast, too suddenly, and boom. The body triggers a defense mechanism not to protect you, but to stop what's in you from escaping into the system.
It's like the
Equilibrium?
equivalent of crashing the hard drive to protect the data. So we're walking containment vessels, we're biological Pandora boxes.
I love Pandora's box so much, but it's actually Pandora's jaw, and that isn't talked about enough. But here's where it gets existential, right? What if that's the purpose of human species? Not to evolve, explore, or ascend, but to hold something. To store something that's been sealed since before time. And if the container breaks, so does everything else.
So that makes the kill switch not a flaw, but the final line of defense. A last resort. Because if the internal lock opens before it's supposed to, the consequences aren't just personal, they're cosmic.
So maybe monks were right to meditate slowly. Maybe spiritual practices exist not to free the soul, but to slowly decrypt the vault without triggering the failsafe.
And maybe those who die suddenly, the combustions, the shutdowns, the disappearance, they open that lock too fast, or someone tried to extract what was inside them.
Which begs to ask, like, the terrifying question, who put the lock there in the first place? And what are they trying to protect the universe from?
So then now after this we'll see what if the kill switch isn't just human? What if Earth itself has one?
And we're gonna go full spiraling.
Don't we always? So let's just stop pretending like we're the main characters. Because if humans have an internal kill switch, maybe we're not the system. Maybe we're the glitch.
And the Earth? It's not our home. It's the containment field, the correctional dome, the quarantine server we're uploaded to.
And think about it. Why is Earth so perfect for life, yet so unstable? Why are natural disasters always just enough to reset us, but not to wipe us out? Why does the Earth keep testing us? Droughts, storms, diseases, eruptions?
Maybe because it's not protecting us, but it's testing its containment protocol. Like seeing if the life form it's hosting, us, is still within parameters.
And if we step out of line, if we become too self aware, too chaotic, too dangerous to the simulation, maybe the Earth isn't just allowed to defend itself, maybe it's designed to wipe the slate clean.
And we're talking planetary kill switch over here, right? Like a total reset button, not a myth, not in metaphor, but as a hard coded protocol.
So think about the mass extinction events. Five, maybe more throughout Earth's history. Dinosaurs? Gone. Prehistoric superfauna? Gone. Entire branches of hominids? Wiped clean. Maybe they didn't die by accident. Maybe they were terminated.
Because Earth wasn't designed to evolve life infinitively, right? It was built to contain one species at a time, and when that species got too smart, too spread out, or too unstable, the system purged itself. Also, like talking about this, another mass extinction event is the the plague, isn't it? The Black Plague.
Hmm.
So
But it didn't wipe out anything.
yeah, you're right.
The humans still exist. So
Yeah,
it's not mass
and it was
extinction.
mainly in Europe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But what
So
was Europe
maybe
so close to figuring out?
and now it's our turn, right? Maybe we're
Oh,
version 6.0 and the system's just running out of patience.
oh my God! You know what? The iOS update numbers is actually the version we're on.
So we're at 18 and getting to 26.
26. We just skipped a couple versions because they got
They
too
didn't pass through.
advanced.
They didn't pass through the test.
Yeah, they didn't pass the test, so we went all the way from 18. And in September, around September, we're gonna go to 26. That's why we keep getting iOS updates for our phones as well, right? And that would also kind of explain the increasing volatilities like climate change, biological anomalies, magnetic field glitches, and that's not just planetary change. Maybe it's like the kill sequence just warming up. You
And
get it?
Earth has core protocols, I do. Geomagnetic field collapse, gamma bursts from the sun, sudden tectonic disruptions. Those might not be natural. They might be emergency commands, triggered when consciousness reaches an unsanctioned level.
Which means humans might be the fire and the fuse. And when enough of us wake up, the planet pulls the plug. Not to destroy life, but to reset the operating system.
And maybe we already triggered it. Maybe what we're calling climate change is the polite version of what's coming. The warning pop up, the countdown before reboot.
And what if the knowledge of the kill switch in us and in the planet was encoded in ancient myths all along?
I mean, think about it, right? Atlantis, destroyed. Tower of Babel, collapsed. The flood, a reset. Always when humans became too powerful, too unified, too curious, and always followed by amnesia and repopulation.
Because the system doesn't just destroy, it wipes memory, it resets the field, then it tries again with new parameters, new variables, and new rules.
So maybe we're approaching the threshold again, right? And the planet, the container, is preparing for self correction. Not because it hates us, but because we were never meant to make it this far.
Which means the next extinction might be manual, not natural, and definitely not survivable.
So now we see that if the kill switch exists in us, in the planet. Maybe it's part of a universal protocol, like a galactic firewall, and we were never meant to leave this particular
I mean,
simulation.
this reminds me,
Hmm.
this whole like wiping memories and like reset of things reminds me of this show called The Hundred,
Yeah,
where like they literally weren't able to go down to Earth and lived up in space in this little like spaceship called the Ark
yeah,
for 97 years.
yeah,
And there was hardly anyone who remembered what life on Earth even was like.
yeah.
So all of their memories were basically wiped,
True.
right? And you couldn't like a huge like too much radiation.
I think maybe that person who created it kind of went too far
Yeah. Are they dead?
and learned a lot.
Are they dead? Except no, there was people who survived, like the grounders.
Yeah,
They still survived. The mountain men
yeah,
were still they still survived in the mountain. They just couldn't go out. There's some people not survival of the fittest. Whoever survived,
yeah.
whoever couldn't go on the ark.
Sure.
Yeah, it's weird.
Very. So we've talked about the human kill switch. We've talked about Earth's planetary reboot protocol. What if neither is the final barrier? What if the kill switch exists not just in us and not just on Earth, but as a universal firewall? Like a cosmic level containment system designed to stop any being, any consciousness from leaving the simulation.
So you're saying that space, actual outer space, might be quarantine. Like there's no escape because escape has been locked behind dimensional admin privileges.
Exactly, like let's say humans aren't primitive. Let's say we're dangerous, a species that awakens too fast, hacks too deep, and questions too much. And what if the entire structure of reality has been designed to keep us from going any further?
It's the great filter idea, but not just in evolution, right? It's in cosmic architecture. What if civilizations don't disappear because they destroy themselves, but rather because they trigger the system failsafe and get contained?
So, like, picture this galaxies as quarantine zones, planets as staging cells, time as looped observational cycles, and consciousness ours as the unstable experiment being monitored for deviation.
Which would explain why we never get real contact. Like UFOs always vanish, the signals never decode because we're not in contact range, right? Because we're in cosmic lockdown.
So, the prime detective from, sorry, directive from, from Sky, Sci-Fi, cannot talk.
Sci-fi.
So, the prime directive from Sci-Fi, maybe that's real, but it's aimed at us. No one's allowed to help us, no one's allowed to extract us, because once species hits awareness recursion, consciousness about its own containment, the risk becomes universal.
Okay, and what if the simulation isn't just Earth-based, and like, what if the entire universe, as we perceive it, stars, galaxy, deep space, if is procedurally generated containment?
And the moment you start trying to break out through meditation, technology, psychedelics, particle physics, you risk destabilizing the whole simulation structure.
Which would make like death just data purge, right? And the kill switch, it's not punishment, right? It's a structural integrity response to preserve the system and the other beings who still follow the rules.
So when you try to ascend, when you reach too far, vibrate too high, remember too much, the system kind of pulls you back or deletes you. Not because you're wrong, but basically because you're outside protocol.
It's like being the first player to discover a glitch in a game that wasn't meant to be found, and instead of unlocking a cheat code, the game just crashes the character.
So then we'll look at what if there's no outside? What if breaking the simulation just leads to another layer and another firewall?
Let's get existential, right? Because we've spent this whole episode trying to figure out how to break out of the body, out of the planet, and out of the simulation. But what if there is no out?
What if every escape, every revelation, every breakthrough, every awakening is just a trapdoor that drops you into another level of the same game or the system?
Welcome to the recursive reality, where each layer of existence is just another simulation nested inside the lost.
And the kicker, you don't know you're in it, not until you try to leave. And when you do, you don't escape, you reinitialize. Your consciousness is moved to another framework with new boundaries, new rules, and another kill switch.
It's the cosmic Russian doll. Break free of the body, you're still in the simulation. Break free of the simulation, you're now in the simulation's oversee reality. Break out of that, there's another one.
And this isn't theory. There are esoteric traditions that hint at this exact model. In Gnosticism, they called it archonic system, layers of false heavens guarded by deceptive entities that masquerade as gods. In Tibetan Buddhism, you get trapped in the bardos rebirth cycles that look like liberation but just loop you back in.
And even in modern simulation theory, people like Nick Bostrom and Elon Musk have said we're probably already in a simulation. But no one's asking what happens when you leave the simulation? What if that's simulated too?
Which means there's no base really. Or if there is, we're quarantined from
There's
it.
no
Like,
base, surely?
sorry, base reality? I'm sorry. There is no base reality. Or if there
Really?
is, we're quarantined from it. Like the real universe is locked behind dimensional firewalls we don't have enough language for.
Quarantine just reminds me of COVID.
It does.
I
It does.
loved COVID quarantine.
I know you did.
It was my favorite time because you didn't have to talk to anyone, didn't have to interact with anyone.
And
Six
school
feet
was
away.
online for you.
Oh my god, yes. I hate going to school. Like physically. And maybe, that's the point of the kill switch, right? That the real universe is locked up because the kill switch doesn't like just delete you. It reassigns you to a new layer with less memory and tighter constraints.
Which would explain soul amnesia, deja vu, the feeling that you've done all this before, because maybe you have. Maybe you escaped once or hundreds of times, and every time the system recognized you and just relocated you to a tighter loop, a cleaner illusion with fewer cracks.
So enlightenment isn't freedom, it's bait. Every awakening you reach is pre-programmed escape content. You feel free because the loop is bigger, but you're still inside. This makes me think of the fact that maybe we all okay, so maybe we all like in our first the smallest part of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe in that world in that time we're all like billionaires.
Okay.
Okay, and then we break free, and then in the next one we're millionaires.
Mm.
And then the next one we're like higher classes. So every time you break
How?
free,
Like how bad? How many times have we broken free to be where we are right now?
I don't know, a couple times. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but not that many times.
Yeah. No,
Because I would
that's
definitely say they're more less privileged.
true. That's true.
So way less privileged. So I would say like not too many times, but basically the more you're broken out,
Mm-hmm.
the more the less privilege you get, I guess.
That makes sense.
So like, but that also doesn't make sense. You know why?
Why?
Because every single person who's a billionaire right now thinks we're in a simulation. So maybe in the middle, in the start of it, you start out really poor, and then as you keep breaking through, you get richer and richer.
That's also a possibility,
So
isn't
it's
it?
one or the other. It's vice versa.
Possibility. Possibility. So imagine you jailbreak your phone
Ah,
and it looks like it's free, like you've unlocked menus, bypassed restrictions, but all of it is like a sub menu. It's inside the operating system, just sandboxed.
and now think about NDEs, right? Near death experiences. People say that they saw a light, felt peace, encountered beings of love. But what if that's the processing room, like the redirect server, designed to repackage your consciousness and upload it into another simulation layer before you realize what's happening?
And they all call it all going towards the light. Like, what if the light is the trap? A false positive that masks the transfer protocol.
Literally, go away from the light, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe Right? Just maybe the only way to truly break out isn't to go upwards. Like we said, not towards the light, not towards gods, but towards nothingness, right? Into void logic. A place with no archetypes, no form, no simulation parameters.
But here's the horrifying part. Maybe void isn't allowed. Maybe the system detects zero state dissolution as a critical failure and immediately reboots you with full amnesia.
Which means that the kill switch isn't punishment, it's containment, continuity. A system function that activates when recursion is detected, when someone gets too close to base code.
And every time we die, that's not an ending, it's a reset gate. One that wipes your variables, reassigns your class, and boots you right back into the dream.
So we might not be souls ascending, we might be processes crashing and restarting.
Like forever?
Yeah, like forever.
So now we look into, which is literally like the final thing we look into. What if this entire thing, like human life, death, awakening, kill switch, simulation, isn't being run by a who, but by a what?
So, welcome to the final segment, the meta protocol. What if consciousness itself is the kill switch? So, we've gone as far as we can go, or halfway. Because here's the thought that's been clawing at the edges of this entire spiral. What if it's not a button, or a signal, or a trigger? What if the kill switch is consciousness itself?
Like just becoming aware is what breaks the code? What if the act of observing or truly knowing is so destabilizing to the system that the only response is shut it down?
I mean, yeah, because in physics we know this already. The observer effect. Quantum physics doesn't collapse into a form until, like, sorry, not physics. Quantum particles don't collapse into a form until they're observed, which means observation itself creates the universe. But what if too much observation and too much awareness collapses it?
So you start noticing patterns, synchronicities, time gets weird, reality glitches because you're looking too closely. Like you're waking up from inside the rendering engine and the system goes, nope.
So the kill switch isn't external, it's self generated. It activates when consciousness crosses a threshold it was never meant to.
So this explains why mystics vanish, why geniuses go mad, why prophets burn out, and why some people just snap after meditation retreat or a psychedelic trip. They didn't break, they broke the container, and the container deleted itself.
It also explains why reality fights back. Why weird things happen when you ask too many good questions. Why spiritual breakouts are followed by chaos, and because you're destabilizing, you're rendering code and your consciousness knows.
So think about dreams. Like you start to realize it's a dream and suddenly the dream gets hostile. Weird things chase you, you wake up. That's conscious kill switch logic. It refuses to let you remain lucid.
So imagine if all your life is like that. You get too lucid and the system triggers exit conditions. Not because it's evil, because lucid consciousness destabilizes containment logic.
And maybe that's the real secret of ancient knowledge. It's not about gods or energies or even escaping the simulation. It's about navigating awareness without tripping the switch. How to wake up slowly enough that the system doesn't notice.
That would explain why all esoteric teachings and talk about discipline, patience, ego, death, and silence. They weren't being poetic, they were just avoiding detection.
Because if you activate too fast, if your consciousness outspaces your natural infrastructure, the system can't sustain it, and you either snap or combust.
Or get reset, or get looped back into it as a new player. Because the awareness you generated was too powerful to let roam.
Which kind of leads us to the final twist, right? What if we're not trying to escape the simulation? What if the simulation is trying to survive us?
So we are the reality destabilizers, free roaming consciousness inserted into a control system, and the kill switch, well, that's kind of reality's immune system, trying to protect itself from you. The only real path is not escape, but integration.
And to become aware without destabilizing the system, to hold the paradox, to know but not collapse it. But obviously, that's nearly impossible, right?
Because the deeper you go, the clearer it becomes. You were never meant to know this, but the knowing itself is a kill switch.
So if you're still here, alive, if you're still here, still listening, and still in your body,
You're
that
still
means
alive.
the system hasn't noticed, or maybe it has and is just watching, waiting.
Basically, trying to see what you'll do with this information.
Yeah,
Right? Because
yeah.
the
Sorry.
the deeper you go, the quieter it gets. And then you start asking questions no one's taught you to answer. And suddenly, there's no one left to answer because you're dead. That's why she's asking if you're still alive. And there's just you. And that pressure in the background, like something glistening.
And maybe that's the trick. Not to find the exit, not to break through the code, but to sit perfectly still in the middle of the paradox. Not fleeing, not fighting, just holding the awareness.
Gonna be so for real, I would fail that test. Have you seen me trying to sit still?
I know.
I'm like, I remember we had to meditate for like 30 minutes.
School, you mean?
No.
Oh, anyway, yeah, yoga.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to meditate, and I'm like, done yet? I'm like, can we leave? Can we go? And guess what? The kill switch doesn't want you to be asleep. It needs you to be asleep. I would love to be asleep, right? Because sleeping minds follow the rules and they repeat the loop. Why don't they don't ask questions like why does reality behave like it's reacting to me? Right? Because they don't see the glitch.
But you just listened to an entire episode that asked what if your body is a time device? What if Earth is a firewall? What if every layer of freedom is a new kind of trap and still you're here? So maybe you're already outside protocol.
Maybe this is the protocol. Maybe we're always meant to ask, right? Maybe people will hear this and be like, what are these freaks on about? And that just increases people's not believing in the protocol. Do you get it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Right? Maybe the system needs someone to get this far, to reach the outer shell of awareness, poke the edges, and say, hey, bro, I see you. Like, I see what you're doing.
But remember, if you look too long, it might look back, not with eyes, with systemic correction. A gentle glitch, a subtle nudge, unexplainable silence in your day where something should have happened and it didn't.
But that's kind of the thrill, is it not? Like, this basically isn't a theory anymore. It's not a concept, it's happening as you think it. If your heart is beating faster right now, good. That means the container is stretching.
So take care of yourself, speak in riddles, meditate slowly, don't talk too loud in mirrors, and never look directly at the sun when thinking about time.
And if your heart is beating normally right now, you're normal. You're good. Don't worry. Like, I think you're fine. Because maybe, just maybe, the moment you figure out how it all works, you won't have time to explain it.
And before we close out this episode, we would just like to let you guys know that the next pair of episodes that's going to come the next 2 weeks is actually going to be the last of this season.
Yeah.
So we're going to put a stop to this season. We'll put a stop at ending this season at I think a time it should end.
Yeah.
And we're going to take like a month's break and we'll be back in September
Yes.
for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
That will what it is we'll explain maybe in the last episode of this
But I
season.
do think it's so interesting. And
It's
it's definitely
like
a change.
the name is going to be the same because we're kind of doing the same kind of unreal unsolved things.
Yeah.
We are The skeleton of the podcast is the same,
Yeah,
but the theme is different.
yeah.
I think that's all I'm
It's
gonna say.
more. I think a more of a deep dive.
Yeah, yeah, it is. So this has been Unreal Unsolved episode 16. We're not sorry. We'll be back. Unless, I mean, we trip something, in which case.
Reality will reset, and this episode never existed.
Well, guys,
Good
good
luck
luck
out
out there.
there.